All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV. It's been a while since we saw you last. Hope you guys had a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. But it is 2023, and it is Thursday night, and you guys know what that means. It's time for the Area 51 Super Speedway Truck Series to get underway here at the beautiful Daytona International Speedway. Up alongside me in the booth is Gael Brooks. I'm Maxwell Caldwell, and we'll be bringing you all the action, not only tonight, but throughout this season. It's good to be back with everyone here on Thursday nights. And Gael, new season always means a couple new things. I know you've kind of been taking up some of the admin roles here a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect for this new season of Truck Series Racing.
Yeah, they kind of roped me into not doing just broadcasting. I guess I get to do a little bit more as well. Don't know how they snuck that one in on me, but yeah, no, it's going to be a lot of fun this season. So we're going to be doing a lot more tracks over the course of the 12-week season. So some stuff will be the same, some will be different. So we'll be going still with the 8-race regular season and then the 4-race playoff for a total of 12 races. One drop week during the initial 8 races. And then from there will be the playoff. And I believe based on the car counts, we'll kind of determine how many playoff eligible drivers we have. We'll be maxing it out at 16 at the highest, which, I mean, right now we've got 36 trucks here tonight, Maxwell. So we'll see. I mean, we could easily hit that 36 or that 16 number for the playoffs. So there'll be a lot of drivers in the going, try to get that championship for 2023. The big difference, though, is track selection. A lot more tracks this season on the super speedway side. Kicking off, of course, at Daytona. Next week, we'll be at Atlanta Motor Speedway, which is almost an Atlanta Super Speedway now, the way that thing races. Then back to Talladega Super Speedway for kind of what we're used to. And then to finish off the 4-race stretch with iRacing Super Speedway to go full tilt to probably 30 to 40 or so with these trucks. And then basically then rinse and repeat back to Daytona for race 5. And so basically it'll be 3 sets of races, pretty much 2 regular seasons, 1 playoff. So you have to be good at all 4 tracks to be able to have a chance at the championship here. Back to 1 fast repair instead of the 2 fast repairs. And then, of course, reduced fuel will bring these things to probably pit road 3 times here tonight. It's going to be fun to see what they have in store for us for the strategies and teamwork and a lot of new names, new faces. It's going to be fun to see how they all kind of get acclimated with one another.
Absolutely, and you talk about those fuel strategies, new players, also back to the original 75 laps that we're used to last season. Tried a little bit of a different thing. Strategies didn't play out, I don't think, like a lot of drivers were hoping for, so went back to if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So back to 75 laps here in this Super Speedway series. But, you know, Guile, you brought up those new tracks, and I can't help but to think a lot of these guys spend so much time at Daytona and Talladega, and they really focus in on these particular tracks. Do you think the addition of not only iRacing Super Speedway, but especially Atlanta Motor Speedway, do you think that is really going to maybe change some strategies of some of the guys like Gabe Butler and Kevin Freeze and some of those Team Boot Knocker guys that we know have been so dominant, and even, you know, the TW guys, you know, and how dominant they can be on these tracks too? Do you think that kind of messes with their strategies and gives some of these new guys we've got maybe a little bit of an advantage?
I'm good. I'm really curious about that myself, because it's gonna be very different racing for those other 2 tracks. But I think the only way we're gonna find out is we get it from our defending champion's mouth, Kevin Freeze here. Grabbing him on over here because starting off the new season, Kevin, you've been a big help to kind of help put on some of these races to build the car counts out. You and Gabe Butler have been doing a great job helping us out here at the league. But now you got to get your helmet back on, go back to defending that title here tonight. A big field, it looks like, this evening. New tracks in the season. That's what Maxwell and I are wondering. Does the addition of Atlanta and iRacing change your strategy for what to do over these 12 races? Or is it kind of just business as usual? I mean, what's the outlook for what you're thinking for these different types of races tonight?
I'm really looking forward to this season, especially with the addition of those 2 tracks. They are a ton of fun to drive because they're a little bit more driver involved than Talladega, and Daytona is also a little harder than Talladega is. But those 2 tracks, I mean, you have to deal with tire wear at Atlanta. Pitting under green flag at iRacing Super Speedway is sketchy no matter what you do. And this season is clearly going to raise some competition. I mean, we have 3 identical pole times right now. I don't think I've ever seen that. So this is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So we'll let you get back down there because I say it looks like qualifying just has completed. So good luck tonight, Kevin, and the rest of the season, man. It'll be fun watching you.
Thank you, guys. Good luck tonight, and I hope everybody enjoys the show.
All right, that was Kevin Freeze, your defending series champion here for the Area 51 Super Speedway Truck Series. And Gael, I'm starting to see some of these cars head to pit road. It's time to see if we can look at our grid here. If I can get it to go to one of our drivers here. Maybe some of them are gridded up. It's hard to tell if any of them are right now. It's not going to let me switch to that grid camera currently. So waiting for some of these guys to try to grid up here. But we can go ahead and, well, it's showing some guys here, but it's not letting me. Here we go. Got the camera going this time. So let's see if we can pull up our official starting grid. And right there in first is going to be Zachary Lima. Kevin Freeze there second with, it looks like a tie, a three-way tie, like Kevin said, for the pole, just by literal tenths of a thousandth of a second separates them. Lima on pole with Freeze in second. Steve Korsick in third, and Gabe Butler there in fourth. Joshua Hanner is fifth. Eric Laurie in the sixth position. Gary Jenkins will be seventh. Tom Dixon, glad to see him back for Team Extreme there in eighth. Seth Groover, a fast guy in the Toyota there in ninth place. And Richard Sanchez rounding out your top 10. Dean Wilkinson for TW Motorsports there in 11th. Mike Alio Jr. there in 12th. And moving on down the page here, 13th is Charles Johnson, along with broadcast extraordinaire and helper here, Matt Wagner in the field there in the 14th spot. Josh Laston in 15th, Bud Steele in that number 10 this season there in the 16th spot. Ryan Decker in 17th. Carl Henderson 18th. Michael, I'm going to mispronounce that, Gael. You think you've got that one?
I think. Yeah, I think Michael Mayu, if I'm not mistaken, that 70 Toyota.
All right, that is your 19th place driver. And Jack Walls coming back to run Area 51 here in the 20th spot. Timmy Reed, 21st. Vicente Guerrero deep in the field here in 22nd. Brad Slagle there in 23rd. And James Moen there in 24th. And for the rest of our drivers here, David Overstreet in 25th, Jessica Childs 26th, Robert Rock 27th, Gary Winters 28th, Jim Brooks, glad to see him back in the field there in 29th, and Andy Brigante in 30th. Rounding out the tail end of the field, Bob Fitzgerald, Rudy Doden, Todd Siebels, Randy Miner, Adam Kilday, and Randy Schweitzer. They're in the 36th and last spot. Woo, barely got through that grid there, Gael, but now it's time to see some final thoughts before these guys take the green. What are we looking at here? Any particular early season favorites you may have? Or
It's gonna be interesting. I think I think Dale Cup versus Bootnocker is gonna ramp up, but I think Dale Cup's gonna need some numbers though, because right now they just got the two right now. I'm very talented two, of course, the 26 and 27 Zachary Lima, Steve Korosek, but Boonocker's got the numbers though to, like, if one drops, they have another one to pick them on up. So they're gonna probably have to make some friends here. But I do look forward to seeing some of the new teams and new partnerships. It's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, when we get some time, a lot of great paint schemes we have to take a look at over the course of this race. But Maxwell, it's time here. We're going to kick off 2023.
absolutely, that pace car is in, and fans, it has been a long off season, but we're glad to be back, and the green flag is out here at Daytona International Speedway. 26 takes the lead, but 25 right there on his outside. Dale Cup versus Team Bootnocker headed straight into turn one here. Side by side, 2x2. These guys trying to get lined up, but it looks like Dale Cup guys are going to take that early lead coming out of two.
Yeah, short distance around the bottom as you build up speed. That's usually going to help the inside line. And look right there, they're actually going to split the lines here to try to see if they can control both lanes, it looks like. So early on, I think Kevin's going to be patient and just lock on the back and just pushing Zachary there towards into turn three. But later on this race, if that situation happens again, watch for the 25 to jump to that third lane and try to see if he can sneak that 26 guy into that sucker hole we've talked about. But right now, it looks like everybody's going to stay 2x2, and it looks like lap one going to go to the 26. Yes, he will get that first lap lead, get the first bonus point of the season as well.
Absolutely. Side by side, still looking like the grid. These guys racing super hard early on up front here, but looks like Dale Cup guys are really taking control here early on, and Team Bootnocker not used to it, and there goes Kevin Freeze going to take it 3 wide and drop that 26 onto the back. I was going to say these guys love to race hard. Oh, and he's just going to clear. Team Bootnocker kind of finding some challengers this season. Oh, and we got Eric Laurie up in the wall a little bit. Action-packed here as we're 3x3 for the lead, Gael.
Yeah, Eric just a little high on entry, caught the wall a little bit, but recovered really, really well there. But I saw one truck see that 3 wide happening and said, you know what, I want nothing of it. And I think that was Dean Wilkinson that said, I'm going to roll right on back there. I say he definitely knows what it takes to make the playoffs, and that's the get to the end of these races right off the bat. But remember I talked about towards the end of the race they might make that 3 wide move? It literally took a lap, and they went to the 3rd lane there. So these guys wasting no time getting racy with one another. They're not here to ride. They're here to race. They want to lead laps and control this thing. So Kevin's not here to play. Like I said, he wants to defend that title.
Absolutely, and we continue to see Dean dropping all the way back to the back, but look at these new colors. Generac there on that 55 machine, and Gael, I was telling you pre-race that I don't know. There's a lot of new paints out here, but that one's pretty sexy if I do say so myself. I'm a sucker for black cars that have a little bit of color to them, and that one definitely looks bold out there tonight. But going back up front to the action here, looks like we have had some lead changes, and sorry for the little camera glitches, just first race things going on here, but big battle for the lead up here, 3x3 as these guys continue to go 3 wide, and even teammates going 3 wide on each other. So definitely interesting strategies here. And, you know, we talk about strategies, and you talked about the fuel load changing. Maybe that adds one extra pit stop that we're not used to, Gael. How do these drivers tackle that?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be a 3-stop race here tonight. Running really low tanks. I want to say like 54%, I believe it's going to be for Daytona, Atlanta, and Talladega. 65% for iRacing, just due to the higher speeds at iRacing Super Speedway. But yeah, I believe it's going to be a 3-stop race pretty much comfortably for everybody. The question, of course, will be how you want to split those 3 pit stops. But right now, I mean, that's the last thing in these guys' minds as we start lap number 5 here. Like I said, they're going, oh, big bobble by Kevin. They're just somehow hung on to that. That was a very close call there. These guys are giving it everything they have. You talk about paint schemes, though. Loving that number 90, though. Gary Jenkins, that Coors Light machine, or actually, I'm sorry, Coors machine. Kind of the Bill Elliott look to that one. A great looking paint scheme there. That second truck on the inside line.
Absolutely a beautiful one there. And, you know, we pointed this out, too. A lot of different paints. Whoops. There we go. All the shuffling was changing. Look at that beauty there for Seth Groover there in the Skittles car. Again, maybe I'm just biased, but I love a black-based paint with just a lot of color added to it. And that thing definitely catches the attention of his competitors out there in the field. But definitely a lot of new faces in the field, a lot of familiar ones coming back. And I tell you, I think that's going to be a recipe for some great racing, but just Gael, have you noticed how twitchy these trucks are right now? Just how much they're moving around, bobbing and weaving as we see Charles Johnson look like he's trying to back out of things a little bit. He's going to drop here to the rear. These guys aren't liking all that 3x3x3 up there. They're saying, hey, now, we've got one faster pair, not 2, and I'd rather not burn it up in the first 10 laps.
And that's exactly it. There's no safe place when they're running 3x3. It looks like 3 rows deep at the moment because any little bobble, any little touch the apron, and you're going to have a huge pile up. Never want that, but I mean, it's just the risk of it as you see these guys running, like I said, 3x3 here. But right now, the highest climber is that second truck on the outside line, that Budweiser machine, Vicente Guerrero. You talked about his qualifying wasn't what he was hoping for. He's already up 15, 16 spots there in that 14 machine right behind that 02 of Seth Groover, making quick work of that group, as saying, of course, Limitless, always one to watch. And I think we're just about to see, yep, there goes that second line finally gets, or I should say line finally gets back to this 2x2 here. So I say a lot of these drivers probably breathing a bit of a sigh of relief after going 3x3 for about 6 laps there. So I say probably a little bit of a breather now for some of these drivers.
Absolutely, and as you talked about Vicente Guerrero, I'm trying to make sure as we talk about guys that we give them some due credit, working hard in the offseason for some different sponsorships, different paints. You got the Budweiser Chevrolet out here. Definitely some different colors for Vicente, and you got to love that custom number 14. Looks just like the Tony Stewart number of days of old, right? So definitely a pretty looking truck there. And, yeah, you talked about it up front. things had definitely changed. And look here with that 88 now. It's weird not saying the 1 anymore, but the 88 there of Gabe Butler, no matter what these Dale Cup guys did, they found their way back to the bottom, and they found right back to where they wanted to be. Gabe up front with that 25 pushing. That's where they're very dangerous. Now it's time to see, Gael, what these Dale Cup guys can do, because from what I remember a couple seasons ago when I was in the booth, these Dale Cup guys mean business, and they will race you really hard.
Oh yeah, no, and that's what they love. They want to race hard, but they race fair and clean, and I think that's again it just steps everybody up to those next levels. But then, like I said, we're familiar with these guys, and we guys start looking at these drivers that we haven't seen new to the league. And right there, right off the bat, started fifth, currently fifth, that number 6 machine, Josh Hanner. So he's qualified well, and he's still staying right in his qualifying position here. So it's a really good start for that number 6 machine. I say it looks like unsponsored for the moment, but I say more performances like this, and he'll probably want to get some paint schemes on there. And he's got some teammates signed as well. He's got the 09, just a few trucks back there of Josh Laston. They're part of the closed circuit organization. And then also looking for their other teammate here. Where is Carl? There he is, the 28 of Carl Henderson. The other of the 3 of that group that is on the track right now. He's got that green and black machine. Looks like he's got Fire Dog as a sponsor there. So some good looking paint schemes. And like I said, it's nice to see some new teams kind of get lined up here as well.
Absolutely, seeing some new guys coming into the fray. And speaking of teams, you're going to have to forgive me here, folks. It's the first race of the season and seeing a lot of new faces here. But I do know that Team Extreme, they have got an extra teammate out here in the field tonight. I think that was a great guess here. And we'll highlight him for just a moment here. The guy that I cannot pronounce the last name, Michael, you're going to have to forgive me. I'm a West Kentucky boy, and it's going to take me a minute to see if I can't get some of these pronunciations right. But, yeah, Michael out here in that 70 machine just hanging out right now. But look behind him. Some other teammates, and it looks like another one, Gael, maybe I didn't even catch in practice, is the 61 there, Brad Slagle. So, Team Extreme going from 2 drivers to 4. How do you think that could bode for them this season? We've saw, James Moan and teammate there really make a lot of time last season and really run up front a bunch, but never quite got the finishes they wanted. Do you think adding the 2 extra teammates will give them that advantage they need to beat Dale Cup and Team Bootknocker?
I think it's definitely helps their chances. Like you said, you're going to need, I think, a solid 3 to 4 truck draft. Like when you get to maybe some situations where you go off strategy, that's where you're going to make the most time. If you're running just 2 trucks and draft by yourself, you're not going to get the lap times. If you've got 3 to 4 trucks that are well organized, that's where you're going to gain your time or at least match the time. So, yes, I think that is a big, big bonus for those guys to have. Like I said, I really look forward to seeing what they can do here. Right now, it's like I said, with this being the slightly narrower track, I believe it's 8 feet narrower than Talladega. That's why you see a lot more 2x2 racing. But yeah, these guys are doing a really, really good job here early on to do exactly what they need to. But like I said, though, a few new names, new faces, like you mentioned, the 66 as well right there. Gary Winters is right with that pack a little bit further up in 15th. He's up 13 positions from where he started. So again, loving the new names, new faces, and they're starting off really, really strong. And this is exactly what you want to see as a league admin, as a driver. You like to see these guys race hard, but again, racing clean and just everybody being smart here early. It just bodes for how much better the season's going to get over the course of these next races when everybody gets familiar with each other too. So I can't wait.
Absolutely. It's awesome to see. And tell you what, looks like these guys are attempting to calm down just a little bit. So as they're getting ready within the next few laps to look at pit stops, let's see if we can come back here and look at some of these other drivers maybe just hanging out here. And, I think I've got all my car counts set right, but with such a big field, I may have a few that it takes a minute to get them to load in for us here. So highlighting some of these guys out in the back, just kind of hanging out in this big old pack. Definitely got that 45 of Todd Siebels, and, they're kind of unorganized back here. They're kind of giving big old gaps, but I don't know that they're just losing tons of time there to the leaders. I don't think they're too far back, but just trying to play it safe right now. But with green flag pit stops looking like they're looming, Gael, do you think the back is really where you want to be right now?
I think you want to start to close the gap because you're right. Right now, Jim Brooks is leading that second group. He's about 1.2 seconds off of Brandon Briggs, and that gap's kind of held steady right here. So yeah, at some point he's got Andy Brigante behind him, and he's going to probably need to start get a little tighter to the back of the 51, try to push him up to the pack. These trucks are a lot more forgiving on losing the draft than the next gen cars, for example. But yeah, he needs to start getting a little bit more aggressive, try to push that pack up to them. Honestly, I'd try to say probably bring that, I think it's the 08 of Bob Fitzgerald in that dark red car behind them to push into that group as well. Because, yeah, you don't want to be pitting over a second behind because, like I said, if you have any little hiccup, you're going to lose the draft. And up front, like you said, though, pretty much the second line is gone. There's only one truck left in line here. And unfortunately, that is Zachary Lima, and he just doesn't have anywhere to squeeze into yet. Maybe he could squeeze in front of Vicente, but right now, just no openings here. So we'll see where he can fall into line. But that big stack up, though, that brought those guys like Jim and company right back into the mix. So we've got, once again, the 35 truck field. Although it looks like James Mohan, actually, he's on pit road, an extended pit stop. Not sure if it was a penalty or if something gone wrong for that 7, unfortunately. So I say we're going to kick off 2023 with the commentator's curse right off the bat here, unfortunately, Maxwell.
Absolutely, and I had just noticed down there on the bottom of our screen that he had made his way onto pit road as we watch him dive off, and I don't know that he maybe didn't have an accident because as our drivers were coming out of 4, it said that he was only 4 or 5 seconds on pit road, so really makes me think that he might have had some single car spin or some kind of accident that we might have missed.
And people are starting to pit. Here we go, the 28, the 09, the 14 all call on pit road, and here comes some more. So, yeah, so here's our first set of green flag pit stops coming to lap number 17.
Absolutely. Some of these Dale Cup guys trying to come down into pit road with a couple of others. Not too big of a pack, it doesn't look like, but definitely a few drivers here pulling into pit stalls. And, again, I'm sorry, folks at home, for cars if they seem like they disappear. I think I've got my distance set, but me and Gael may have to look at that before next week.
It might be the cars. I think also like the driver having a little connection hiccup that also happens. So yeah, it's the part of sim racing. Connection issues happen. So, but yeah, so you're right though. From 22nd to 35th, right there, hit pit road. We're about to see another batch of drivers hit pit road here, now being led by the boot knockers here as well. And let me double check. I think Seth Groover had an issue exiting pit road.
Oh, and we've got a yellow. Absolutely. See if we can go and see what's going on here. So much going on. So many numbers flipping around. And, yeah, slow right there. A veteran of Area 51 Super Speedway Truck Racing having a little bit of a hiccup here tonight. Going to have to see if we can go back and catch what happened there, Gael. And I'm having to dig because this thing keeps showing everybody, passing everybody. And we're going to have to see if my cameras allow me to see this here with Seth Groover.
Yeah, but yeah, so if it doesn't pull up, I was able to take a look myself, and it looks like your cameras aren't cooperating at the moment. But yeah, just unfortunately had a bit of just looped it around on pit exit. He's waving around the pace card and there to get his lap back. Unfortunately, just an odd situation there. Got on the gas and is getting through the gears, and I think it probably was the 1-2 or the 2-3 shift, and just completely unloaded the back end of that truck and sent it around. So again, I mean, first yellow, but for some situation like that, that's not a bad thing. But here's the concern, though. If some of these drivers might be a little shy on fuel, they're going to have to just kind of limp their fuel numbers here, try to make it to pit road. But I think the big winners here are going to be those trucks that hit pit road. I don't see them coming back in like Steve Karosek, Zachary Lima. So if all these guys that pitted stay out, that's going to drop Gabe and Kevin here probably outside the top 10, top 15 even.
Absolutely. So we see these guys all coming to get their first service of the day. Don't see too much strategy probably going to go on here. They know they're going to lose track position. I would think 4 tires and fuel here just to go ahead and get that out of the way. You're going to be mid-pack toward the back anyway, so might as well get that done. So folks at home, while we are under this yellow flag, we are going to try to see if we can take a quick break here, and we will come back with 1 to go to bring you the next 10 of this race. 19 laps in of the 75 scheduled laps. You're watching Green White Checkered TV. All right, back here under the yellow with 1 to go on the backstretch. Time to try to reset things for you here. Quick update on timing and scoring. If you look at the top and you see that it says a bunch of drivers maybe out of the race or just jostling around a little bit, it looks like timing and scoring on my end not working the best here tonight. So if anybody falls out of the race or gets knocked out due to a wreck, me and Mr. Brooks here are going to let you know that for sure. We'll keep you up to date. But for now, it's time to reset it. First place, Josh Laston, Carl Henderson in second. But Kevin Freese and Gabe Butler get lucky with the field coming to top off there in third and fourth. Fifth is Joshua Hanner, and sixth, Gary Jenkins. And the pace car is in. And it is time to get these things back underway here. Going to start lap 21 of 75 laps here at the Daytona International Speedway. Caution is no longer happening, so we see Kevin Freese giving a big push to Josh there going into turn 1. He's going to hope to clear and try to pull in front of that 28 before they go down the backstretch.
Yeah, and right now you got a lot of the closed circuit guys lined up. Not quite lined up, but all together. They see the 09s right there, the 28s right there, the 6. So they've got the numbers that they're wanting for, and they've got the track position they're wanting as well. Josh and Carl just doing a little strategy. They decided to stay out and not pit under that yellow since they had just pitted. So the hope is that this will work out for them to kind of cycle and get some track position. Another driver that did that as well, didn't get all the way up to the top 3 though. The 65 Jessica Childs on the inside line as well. Really, really colorful, good-looking paint scheme on that truck as well. Also, Jessica staying out after the green flag pit stop and now cycling out in the 7th position. So yeah, you got plus 14 for Josh, plus 15 for Carl, and plus 19 for Jessica. I like the pit strategy because, again, it's so difficult to pass here at Daytona with the 2 lanes, primarily 2 lanes, I should say, racing. So I think this is going to be a really good call because now Jessica can just kind of sit behind these guys if they want to, save some fuel, and then get almost on par with the pit strategy as well. So I like the gamble here by these drivers.
Absolutely. If there was a time to shake up track position, it would have been here early on in the race because you just don't know what the race is going to give you, right? So definitely got to shake up front. Got some of these guys on off in the back. Some of your front runners like Zachary Lima, 22nd. And some of those other guys, Steve Korzik, he's there in 19th. Vicente, 17th.
Oh, moment with 09 here.
Oh, looks like he's pulling over. Maybe he doesn't want to lead Gael. Maybe he's just trying to get out of harm's way here, but maybe he has a problem. But yeah,
I think that may have been a push gone wrong or something happened to 09. Had to gather it up, but great avoidance by everybody. You can see Josh trying to get settled in once again. Unfortunately, loses all that track position we just talked about. But importantly, though, keeps that truck in one piece. So great job by Josh. Or should be able to tag onto the back of this group. So will not lose a lap or anything there. Just like I said, just unfortunately some track position loss. But like I said, it's early. We're not even a third of the way through here. So
absolutely coming to start lap 25 or 24, excuse me, of 75. So almost to the 1/3 mark, just a lap shy here. And we see the 28 of Carl Henderson trying to get to the lead with Kevin Freese pushing. But even with him pushing, I'm noticing a lot of these trucks are really getting squirrely out there. And, we're under intense sunlight right now. And it makes you wonder, Guile, how these trucks might be handling as Gabe Butler kind of gets the run there on the back stretch. But you'll see these guys on the inside coming back at him. A lot of these trucks are dancing a little bit more. Yeah, Vicente trying to take it 3 wide up top.
Well, you wonder, too, if a lot of these trucks may or may not have really put tires on their trucks. So, like I said, maybe a little bit tire wear, like you said. And then, yeah, track times. It's not hot by any means yet. 81 degrees on the track side. So, but it is going to continue to warm up right now. Right now, track time, I believe, is sitting at about 10 a.m., if I'm not mistaken. So it's only going to get warmer as Gabe and Vicente get super close there in 1 and 2. But, man, yeah, these guys are right back at it, just like we were after that initial start as well. So, yeah, it's business picking up once more here. Vicente just inches clear of being clear, I should say, from Gabe as a big push there, big wobble. And luckily, Gabe able to clear and get to the inside because that could have been big.
Absolutely. These trucks looking like they are just not handling the best here today. Seeing some of the best not only in this esport of iRacing, but also here some of the best in Area 51 competition. And you got someone like Gabe Butler, like, having a hard time keeping control of the back end. So I know when I was able to race a couple of seasons ago, you know, the back ends were really light, but it seemed like in the off season, some of the races we ran, me and you got to be a part of them there, Guile, the trucks felt pretty planted. I didn't feel that big looseness out of them, but man, tonight they seem to be a handful for these drivers. Oh, and the 90 gets hooked, and there's some big contact here in the pack. Big crash.
Yeah. This is where now everybody's just got to get woed up here and try to avoid making contact with one of their, some trucks getting hit. Matt Wagner got a piece of it just at the very end there by some drivers spinning around. And yeah, number of drivers involved, some off track, some getting bigger hits than others, but that will bring the yellow. First caution for really an incident on track. Yeah, tough break there for some, but I say looked like a lot of drivers did a good job getting woed down there.
Absolutely, and I'm glad we were able to catch most of that there because I'm curious how iRacing is going to treat me trying to get this replay here, but we're going to see if we can get it for you. Digging through tons of crash footage here. Let's see if we can scroll through and find this yellow flag, and I'll see if I can bring it to you best I can. Riding on board. We've got the action just started, so let me see if I can pause. And let's see if we can come backwards here just a little bit. See if we can get a better camera view of this here. And we'll see if we can kind of slow-mo play this in action. Saw it with the 90 here. Gonna see he just gets a bad push there by the 6. Comes up into Vicente. And from there, the guys behind have nowhere to go. Starts really stacking them up here. As we see these guys just start getting wrecked. Riding on board here with Steve. Maybe we'll see some other guys come into the frame here as he starts spinning. See if we can get a different camera view there. The 19 involved. Talked about the good run she was having. The 63 gets involved. And, of course, here's where some drivers are going to be popping in and out just a little bit. So, apologies for that. But see if we can at least rewind one last time here and catch it. And it's not going to let me. So, we're going to go back live here. But just big crashes there for some of these guys. And pit stops are happening, Gael. You got an update on maybe who pitted and who stayed out?
Yeah, it's looking like, I believe, so I'm trying to see if Gabe actually hit pit road or he may have done a drive through there just to kind of cycle back towards the back of this. I didn't get a good look to see. I'm going to go back and check myself there. But yeah, a lot of drivers, like I said, there's going to be a lot of damage to get repaired here. I think the driver that actually may have caught the biggest break out of that is going to be Josh Last. Remember, he lost that main pack just because of the that moment he had in the tri-oval. He had to fall all the way to the back, but he was behind all of that when it happened, so he was able to back it down. So it looks like the 7 of James Mohan, I think, got the wave round, so he gets back on the lead lap, which will give us, I believe, 34 trucks back together. Actually, I'm sorry, 35, I think, as well. I'm trying to keep an eye on that 66 of Gary Winters. Maybe trapped one down. But yeah, it looks like fuel only for the 88 and the 90, the 26 and the 70 as well. And then, yeah, a lot of lengthy pit stops here. Jim Brooks had about a 48-second stop. Kevin Freeze about a minute on pit road. Damage repairs. Adam Kilday in the 41, a minute 4. Seth and Matt Wagner still on pit road getting service done to their trucks. And again, this is them trying to save their fast repair. They don't want to have to burn it yet if they can at all avoid it here. But let's say Seth's gonna have to get rolling here because that pace car is about to swing by him here, so he's gonna have to hustle because we're also on the 1 to go. And then fortunately, I don't think Seth's gonna do so. So I think he's gonna get trapped a lap down now, as we're gonna get the 1 to go here and we're gonna restart this thing on lap number 30. So yeah, that's definitely the first big one of the season. And yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, say again, probably a few fast repairs forced. But then a lot of trucks are going to have to be kind of, I think, just limping a little bit of damage. But it really shakes up the running order, though. Look at Charles Johnson now all the way up into 4th now. And then I saw a few Timmy Reed in the 67 up into 7th. So, and then Brandon Briggs also plus 27 spots in that Raiders machine in the top 10 as well. So great job by him. Just kind of playing it calm, cool, collected. Even said pre-race in the broadcast, time to survive the storm. And I think that's job done on the first attempt here for that first storm. Probably more to come, though.
Absolutely, and yeah, seeing some comments from guys in the YouTube chat. I'm doing the best I can with camera angles. They're not cooperating with me tonight. Call it the first race jinx, whatever you'd have it. But trying to catch as much of these wrecks as I can. I can tell you one thing, though. That was massive. So definitely a lot going on there. And that one, not a whole lot of guys coming out just unscathed. But time to reset it here. Team Bootknocker on the front row. Gabe Butler leading. Gary Jenkins there in second. Zachary Lima third. Charles Johnson, as you mentioned, in fourth. Carl Henderson in fifth. Vicente Guerrero 6th, Timmy Reed 7th, Bud Steele 8th, Tom Dixon in 9th, and Brandon Briggs rounding out that top 10. And the pace car is back into pit road, coming to start lap 30 of 75. 2 yellows have now been complete, and a great jump by Gabe Butler there on the start, getting a big push from Lima there. And I'm kind of surprised that he's wanting to be pushed past a teammate here, because Lima could easily leave him hung out to dry when this outside lane gets going.
I don't think Gabe had a choice there. I think Limo just pushed him too hard there. And yeah, but the plus side is he's gonna lock on now with the 20 to Carl Henderson. I mean, Carl, again, he's new to the league, but he's a good super speeder racer. He's been pushing well here early on. As you see a couple trucks drop into the apron there for a split second. Looks like all is well though, and there's the 26 able to clear. Now that gives an opportunity though for Gary Jenkins. I don't know if Gary's led a lap yet in that Coors truck, so looking forward to see what these drivers have in store. And I think, yeah, a moment here for Rudy Doden. I'm going to go back and take a look. The 80 trucks off the racing surface. And I think the 61 possibly as well. Brad Slagle, we stay green. But yeah, so something happened towards the back of the pack, unfortunately. But we'll stay focused on what's happening up front here, though, Maxwell. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. You got it pulled up there, it looked like. Apologies. But yeah, it looks like they're kind of grabbing a gear and getting going again. But yeah, not sure what happened there. Maybe a stack up on the restart on the coming to the backstretch, but they're still going. They looks like they actually waited for each other, got hooked back up and up front. So yeah, there's 90 able to start pushing to the front.
Absolutely. And yeah, we jumped back there just to see the car from a complete stop trying to come forward. I thought I saw something in the back of the field, but there is some sort of cutoff for me at a certain position to where it starts cutting cars out of the field of view. So going to have that fixed for you guys next week, but for tonight, we're just going to have to go through the trenches with this together, folks, and appreciate your patience with that. I know we've kind of missed a couple of details here, but hoping to get that better here very soon. So definitely the action is up front right now, 2x2, and it's just a constant battle between Team Bootknocker and Dale Cup, guys. Definitely got some big pushes going on, and Gabe Butler looking like maybe he wants to give the pushes back to Lima, but also Gary Jenkins decides he wants none of it. He wants to come down to the bottom, and here comes Charles Johnson in the 9 truck. Oh, and we got a yellow somewhere in the field.
Yeah, towards the back, looks like, I believe, Adam Kilday involved in the 41. And it looks like the motor might be done on that one. Yeah, that motor is indeed popped. And it looks like a small one here. But again, I think this is going to save a handful of drivers that were in a bad spot on the on track, losing some drafts. So we're going to go. I'll try to take a look on my side, and I'll try to let you find it as well here. And actually, it looks like, no, I'm sorry, it was further up the field here. I think it may have been around the 45 of Todd Siebels. I apologize, Maxwell, entering turn 3. I believe also right behind, I think it was behind Jessica Childs here entering turn 3. So I'll try to see if we take a look what happened.
Trying to get to it now, but I'm afraid if I wasn't focused there at the back, we might have an issue. But going to give it our best shot here as digging through here for the yellow flag. Let's see what we can get. And yeah, it was so far back in the field, I don't think it's going to be able to pick it up for me here.
Well, I was able to pull it up on my side. And so, yeah, so basically, unfortunately, it looked like Todd Siebels just washed up a little bit entering turn 3. That got him into the left rear corner of the 02 of Seth Groover. Just right now, if anything can go wrong, it can for Seth, it looks like. And a little bit of involvement for Bob Fitzgerald as well. So it looks like a 3-car incident with, I think I picked up, like I said, picked up one of those trucks afterwards. However, you can see everybody's trying to get settled in here, get settled to get onto pit road. Again, fuel is important here. So, because this could be now getting these drivers right into the window to be able to make it on one more stop here. If they can go, let's say if they can touch 20 laps, I think this will put them right in that window. Of course, not with the green-white checkered, of course, to potentially come into play. So we'll see if that is something that we need to watch for. But it looks like race off pit road was tight between Vicente and Zachary. We'll have to see who was officially scored as the leader on the exit. And it looks like it will be Zachary.
Absolutely. Yeah, big race off pit road here. Lima getting the lead. So as these guys try to get back caught to the pace car, we're going to take another break here while we've got the opportunity, and we'll be back with the one to go to get it all reset for you here on Green, White, Checkered TV. Back here to bring the action. Lap 35 of 75, getting ready to get the final few laps in here. And I say final few because these races, they just always go by so quick. Gael, we've had a couple of yellows here early on. What do you think of the race so far, and what are your expectations as we continue to go into this?
Oh, it's been really exciting. It's that unfortunate. I mean, we've seen kind of what we've seen before, the big wreck earlier, just a bump gone wrong, and then just a little bit of a mistake on that's most recent caution. But overall, I mean, like I said, yeah, we've had 3 yellows, but one's just a little solo spin off of pit exits. I mean, that's just one of those things that happen. So 2 on track actual incidents. And yeah, I mean, right now it's looking like Boonwalker versus Dale Cup is kind of what we're going to be watching for. But like I said, Limitless is starting to kind of show their strength here as well. And I'm not too sure about the closed circuit group. I think those guys are going to be a part of this as well. And then you look at some of the regulars that we haven't talked about too much. You got Bud Steele now sitting in 6th, right behind Charles Johnson. Jack Walsh creeping into the mix there in the top 10. So it's, yeah, I mean, you want to make guesses on these things, but right now these guys they're doing it all, and it's going to be fun to see. And I think fuel strategy could creep into this one because we're restarting this race with, I believe, 40 to go. So if they can run 20 laps on a stint here, that would be one more pit stop. So it's going to be pretty wild to see what the strategies are going to be.
Absolutely, these guys are going to save fuel, except for these ones up front. That 26 heading off into turn 3 with the lead, and shocked Vicente hasn't moved up yet, but we know his aggression level, and we know the disappointments he had of last season. Some great runs ended with some big wrecks and just some ill-timed yellows, but definitely up front yet again. And Guile, I said it last season, I'll say it this season, that 14 of Vicente Guerrero, he doesn't have the wins to show it, but I still say he is one of the fastest guys in the field and one of the guys that can definitely put up a challenge to those Team Bootknocker guys. You know, he kind of runs solo, doesn't really have many teammates out there. He's got people that will work with him some, but no dedicated teammates, and that's got to be hard when he's got teammates on other teams all around him there trying to gang up on him.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm peeking around there, and I think Vicente actually looks like he might be actually tagging on alongside with these Dale Cup drivers. Now that I'm looking at the discords, so actually, kind of you can count them as a 3-truck team, if you will, kind of Limitless slash Dale Cup. As got one spinning in the back there. I think it's going to keep it off the wall. That was Rudy Doden, and still chasing that truck. Just hangs on to it, avoids the pit road entry cone, but will lose the draft there. But that was a big moment for that number 80 machine. We're going to have to grab a gear and maybe wait for that truck behind to catch up. I think that's the 02. But up front, though, we're starting to get the third lane pack up here being led by Dean Wilkinson.
Absolutely. Starting to see that 55 make his move, but Vicente making his move. Just talked about it, right? He has made that move to get to the lead, and he is ready to get a lap led here. And we haven't talked about it tonight because it's just race 1, but hey, clean slate. Points start accumulating right here. The off-season races don't count, so that lap led by Vicente is a bonus point, and he still has the opportunity to attempt to lead the most. And after last season, I would think, after the way his championship run went, he would be thinking about all those bonus points. But the 55 there really making a big run on the outside, and we haven't seen that most of the race, Gael, of these guys really making these big, hard charges. But as you can see, Dean Wilkinson leading that line. It's a little early for him to be running up front and for us to be seeing him up here, isn't it, Gael?
Yeah, usually Dean waits a little longer before he starts to get aggressive, but he probably heard you kind of hyping up his truck there with the paint scheme earlier and said, well, hey, I want to show it off a little bit more. So yeah, he's making the charge now. But the thing is, I've seen Dean kind of drive both ways. Like you said, kind of the chill and just right in the back, just take it easy. But then I've also seen the Dean that, especially around the playoffs, got aggressive and went after it. And I think he liked doing that aggressive driving. But still almost makes contact with Steve Korosek there. But right now, though, it looks like that third lane's starting to fizzle back out, unfortunately.
Absolutely, it is trying to putter out here. So let's go back to the front and see what we're looking at here. Vicente Guerrero leading a hard charging pack of trucks here today. And, we haven't got to do this a whole lot. Haven't had the chance to do it just yet. But, and as we get ready to, there's some action there going on down into the midfield. Are they going to keep it green? Some guys are forced to go down pit road. And that is interesting for some of these drivers. And look who it is, Gabe Butler and company. Are they going to drive through, or are they going to go ahead and make a stop here and just go off strategy, you think?
Yeah, it looks like they're all. And I'm almost wondering if that may have been a planned pit stop. They just locked up, or I'll try to take a look myself here. But that was a very interesting situation there, where maybe just make the best of a bad situation. But I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna take a look at the 88 while you continue to watch this racing on track here. And I think you're right. I think it's like, well, we're kind of here. Let's just pit. It's kind of getting that vibe. So. Lima hit the apron exiting 4, and that's kind of what triggered it all. So they decided, hey, let's just pit now, and we'll see. This could be one of those bad situations that actually might be a good situation. So, because this is really split up the field as well. So this is where those guys could make up a lot of time right now.
Absolutely not probably the most opportune time to come down pit road with everyone still just having to make one more stop. But at least they can ensure that it's only one more stop for them. But we do still have a race up front here, and Charles Johnson found himself to the lead, but getting challenged by Bud Steele, changing from the 6 that I've known him as for seasons on end and changing to the number 10 this season. Is going to take this old broadcaster a little getting used to, Gael, to see, and a big wreck right there in the front. Huge contact, and that's going to bring out a yellow.
Yeah, caution is out involving a number of our leaders there. And once again, I'll say it's the great break for those that had just pitted. It's also a good break for those that lost the draft. But I think may have just been a draft gone wrong here. Looks like Dean Wilkinson's truck is just, unfortunately, that's going to need a fast repair. He's going to have to burn that one up there. And unfortunately, it looks like I believe from what I saw there, probably a push gone wrong, unfortunately, for those guys.
Absolutely, and lucky for us, I do believe that since that is up toward the front of the field here, I should be able to pull that one since our focus was there. So let's see what we can see. Cross our fingers, folks. And let's see what we can see on camera. Yeah, we're going to get some action here with it. Let me stop and rewind just a little bit here. So they come out of turn 4. Let's see if we can get a better camera angle. This ought to show it pretty good. And watch that 10 truck of Bud Steele coming down here onto the short chute. And guy in the back, third in line, seemed to have gotten pretty loose. And oh, Dean just gets tagged. Dean gets tagged there by the 27 of Korzik. And that just sends everybody into tizzy. And a huge hit for Vicente Guerrero. The 63 involved, the 7, James Mohan involved. A lot of drivers having to take evasive action through the grass there. Oh, Jim Brooks looks like he makes it through that one. I think that was the 51 that I saw. So, yeah, absolutely. Just, I'm afraid to change off drivers here because of camera views and such. But, yeah, definitely a big accident there. So, maybe that helped some of those guys that pitted earlier. But here come a lot of these drivers down pit road. And that should put everybody in a one-stop window here, wouldn't you say, Gaio?
Yeah, exactly right. As I just saw, the 02 looks like get a lap back. So good break for Seth here.
Absolutely. Good break for him. And looks like we got a lot of sorting out amongst the field here to do. So under our 4th caution here on Green White Checker TV, we're going to try to take you to commercial here. A break at least, and see if we can come back and get all of this sorted out. So, under the 1 to go, we'll see you back. But until then, this is Green White Checkered TV. All right, back with you here coming off of our 4th caution, going through 3 and 4. Resetting the field for you here up front, we have Charles Johnson in 1st, Gary Jenkins 2nd, Jack Walls 3rd, Jim Brooks in 4th, and 5th place, Matt Wagner there. David Overstreet in the 6th spot. That's your top 6 as the pace car pulls in, and definitely a shake-up up front, Gael, as we get ready to go for this green flag. Lap 46 of 75, and everyone should be able to make it with just one more stop. So the question's going to be in this race now, when do you come down pit road? And Gael, I'm going to give you a little chance to reminisce here. Look at these drivers you have leading this race. Charles Johnson, Jack Walls, Matt Wagner, Jim Brooks. It's like an Area 51 admin party up front.
Yeah, so you got the OGs up front right now, kind of controlling this race right now. Yeah, so really, say it's fun to see that. Say as one of the like kind of the people that kind of help form this league, if you will. I'll say it's like I said, it's the main guys. You got the main Tuesday admin there in the 11 truck, they said, and then yeah, Charles and Jim, one of the main admins for the league as well. So really cool to see them up front here, and so this is what they like to do. They want to be able to kind of put their racing helmets on and kind of put the admin hat away and just have at it. So right now doing a great job, and yeah, like you said, everybody's got one more pit stop to go, and the interesting part is you're gonna have, like you said, about a 5 maybe 10 lap window where you can make your pit stop. So like I said, restarting with 30 to go. They can go about, we think it seems like about 18 laps is definitely doable. So they could go as far as 10 to go, or I say actually 12 to go, or as early as about 18 to go. So you're going to have a window of how early or late do you want to make your final pit stop if we stay under green.
Absolutely, and that's the tricky part of who's going to come win. We're going to probably see all kinds of different strategies. Some people are probably going to come as soon as that fuel window opens to get to the end. And, one on the apron there. I believe that was the 46. And it looks like he did save it. Yes, absolutely. What a wild ride.
On track, and we'll do so. Dean, you saw Dean Wilkinson give a ton of room there. Great heads up by those guys to allow David to gather that truck, back up. But right now, though, with everything that's been going on, we've got a really kind of split up field right now, Maxwell. I'm showing about in the main pack here about 20 trucks roughly, actually 18 trucks it looks like, to Bud Steele. Dean Wilkinson's gonna have some work to get those guys.
And Charles gets loose. Big wreck.
Oh, trouble.
Oh, massive hits there. Thought I saw Charles blink earlier, and then it comes back and is fine, and then just big implications there. Man,
yeah,
man.
You just wanted to say, though, I wonder if, I'll say either possibly a connection issue. Oh, and yeah, so I'm listening to the driver radio, and Charles just kind of, because initially they're reporting that some connection issues for the 9 possibly. Then it sounds like Charles Johnson actually running on VR, and he said, yeah, screen just went completely black on him. Unfortunately, just couldn't see anything. But what I'm watching, though, when you pull up the replay, though, focus on the 51 of Jim Brooks, because that's now 2 wrecks that he just parts the waters on. And you're like, man, I don't know how long that luck's going to last.
Trying to see if we can back this up just a moment. Lucky for us, I can show all of this since we were right there with these drivers. So let's see it in action. Going into 3 and 4, getting ready to exit the corner, watching that 9 pretty close.
Yeah, it looks like it steps out on him, but that's just unfortunate because at this point, it's like he put a blindfold on. He can't see anything. Then focus on that. Look at that 4th car on the outside line right behind the Coors truck there of Jim Brooks. So we talked about him just getting through this one. Look at this once more. Just sneaks on through the middle once again. Also, Josh last in the 09 just barely sneaks by as well. These guys just catching some big breaks there. Unfortunately, some like you see there, Jack Wells not so lucky. Matt Wagner as well. Tough break for those guys. But again, someone's bad luck is going to be someone's good luck, and that is going to be that 80 Rudy Doden, I believe, is going to get waved around here, and I believe back on the lead lap. I'll have to wait for timing to update. And also surprisingly though, Bud Steele stays out here, Maxwell. I'm a little nervous about that.
Well, they still have over 26 laps left to go here. You've still got to make one more stop. Maybe Bud's just waiting for that fuel window to open and is going to try to come down during that time. But we've seen Bud Steele make some different pit calls before, and who knows, maybe he just thinks being the first person out front, he's going to avoid all the trouble, even though this last wreck happened with our leader. So definitely a lot of interesting things going on here. And Gael, instead of going back to break here under our 5th caution, I just want to ask you, are you surprised that we're at our 5th caution within 50 laps?
Yes and no. I mean, obviously, we're used to these things being clean and green, but at the same time, we're also it's a new, like I said, it's a new season. It's a lot of new drivers, but honestly, the incidents haven't really been that. It's been weird situations. I mean, like I said, a spin on pit exit, someone's VR failing on them. I mean, those are things you can't really account for in races. So, to me, like I said, I feel like we've had maybe three kind of typical wrecks that you see in racing and plate racing and so on and so forth. So yeah, so 5 is definitely a little on the high end, but at the same time, even though this one's been a little different, 5 is, I'd say, about right for, again, a new league, a lot of new names, new faces, getting familiar with each other. 36 trucks that started tonight's race, actually 37 it looks like. So as a whole, I'm gonna say I'm pretty content with how these guys are doing it. Let's say if I put my admin hat on, kind of a thing, I'm pretty happy with the way things have gone so far.
Absolutely. Well, time to reset it for you here as they're going through turns 1 and 2 right now. Bud Steele is your leader. Zachary Lima in second. Josh Laston there in the third spot in that 09. Saw him fall all the way back earlier, now back to third. Jim Brooks, talked about him missing a lot of wrecks here tonight. He has found himself in the fourth position. The 28 of Carl Henderson there in fifth. And were we not just talking about Seth Groover having an unfortunate night, being laps down and not having a good run? He's sitting here on the lead lap in the sixth position. And look who's sneaking their way back up to the front. Kevin Freeze in seventh. Dean Wilkinson after his incident in eighth. Tom Dixon in ninth. And trying to tell, timing and score keeps changing. And Michael there in the 70 in the 10th position.
Yeah, and we've got some teammates lined up too. You got Carl Henderson right behind Josh Laston. You've got two of the Team Extreme drivers lined up behind each other. So you got a couple of teammates here lined up pretty well with each other. Like I said, the big thing for me right now is Bud Steele's 6 laps fewer, or should I say 6 laps less of fuel than his competition. So if we go green, he's going to have to come in earlier as we get back to green, and he's also up front controlling this thing. Going to get worse mileage, so I'm going to keep a very close eye on that 10 truck.
Absolutely. 24 laps to go here at Daytona International Speedway. The race has been exciting so far, but the jump seems to come from the outside lane there with Lima in the 26. But Bud's still getting a big run. Oh, and Seth getting just shot up the hill, and we're going to have another wreck.
Yeah, the accordion starts to kick off and it cautions back
out.
Oh,
big hits. Whole track's clogged up, Gael.
That was a weird one too. I'm not sure where this all. It looked like it started with the O2. I'm not sure what happened to Seth there, right in front of Dean Wilkinson. But we just talked about both those trucks. Hey, we're back in it, and now they're both back in trouble again.
And only one faster pair means some of these guys are not having the first race they wanted. So this wreck, I hate to say that I have to keep looking at these wrecks from where they're at, but started in the front and got worse in the back. We'll see what we can pick up here. May not be able to pick up the entire wreck, but gonna do the best we can and let Gael's beautiful commentary paint the picture like a radio broadcast for the rest of us. But let's see if we can catch any of this here. And it looks like we might have caught it already in progress. Let's see if we can rewind just a little bit.
Yeah, that's the accordion of it. It starts right there, the 55 and the 02. And it looks like it's just a bump gone wrong by Dean to the right here. You see the back of the O2, and it just snaps the O2 and maybe a little bit of net code even. And then at that point, it's just they're trying to hang on to it. And just like I said, then the accordion works its way back. You see the 21 makes a little contact. Then the 08 gets involved. And yeah, unfortunately, they just kind of all wind up back into each other. So again, though, I was worried about Bud Steele, but again, stayed out, got the track position, and now is in a great spot here. And again, this is going to be tight on fuel. So I'm intrigued how this is going to pan out, but it's a heartbreaker for some of these guys that just, again, feels like wrong place, wrong time.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, stays out again here, Maxwell.
Wow. And absolutely just finishing up this yellow here, just showing the replay, trying to get what we can. Catching a lot of these guys, getting to see this full incident here, and some guys even getting contact after almost completely stopping. But and one, the 24 almost gets knocked over into a roll there. But a lot of big hits here tonight, Gael. A lot of big accidents. And going back up front, and you're right, Bud Steele does stay out here.
Yeah,
I don't know
3
that I
stayed out
wouldn't
this
have bit the
time,
bullet here and probably had pitted here.
I would have at least pitted there. You could take a splash. You'd still wind up probably outside the top 5. But yeah, so Bud Steele stays out there, and it looks like the 67 is the one that was able to get his lap back there. So that is going to be Timmy Reed. I'm sorry, looking through time and scoring, getting back up there. But yeah, so Bud Steele, Jim Brooks, and Randy Schweitzer all stay out. lap 43 for Bud, 49 for Jim, 49 for Randy, and now lap 53 for Kevin Freeze on back here. Again, I think everybody's still going to have to pit to make it to the end. However, again, for Kevin and company, at this point, they're only going to need probably maybe half a can of fuel, I feel like, to be able to make it to the end. Maybe a can if you want to play it safe. To be able to make it to the end, so they'll need less fuel than these guys in front of them.
And the strategy I'm seeing here, Gaio, is they know they've got one more stop, but they keep pitting because the more fuel they put in it now, the less they have to put in on that final stop, which makes for a quicker pit stop. And from there, those guys will be on and off pit road a lot quicker than someone like Bud Steele, and seeing even more coming in and topping off with the 1 to go. And Gael, these guys coming in with 1 to go, I'm going to kind of put the camera over here to some of them. I find this strategy very interesting, and you want to know why? I see this as a chance with 21 to go. We're going to restart with 20 to go. You said if these guys can squeeze 20 laps out, it's a good fuel run. Maybe, just maybe, these guys aren't going to pit the rest of the race, and they're going to try to make this their final pit stop and hopefully get all that track position as the run goes on. Try to take the first part of the run to really save early, and as those other guys pit, they'll be right there linked together where they can make a big run at it.
That is a really good point. The other potential, too, is if they say, hey, you know what, we're going to get more yellows, those guys are going to have to probably take a splash. Maybe we can just stay out and jump in front of them. So, yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for that strategy, and it might also be even just trying to save your truck. Say, hey, all right, we're mid-pack right now. Do you want to be mid-pack or do you want to be at the back of the pack? Say, all right, I don't have a fast pair. I want to be at the back. That way, A, fuel save, and B, yeah, hopefully be in a better spot for if a caution comes out in front of me.
I think we just had a truck blow up there on the grid, so I don't know if that's going to do if that's going to be a hold here or what, but definitely had some trucks losing some speed. I can't tell which one it was, but someone definitely had a lot of cars passing. I think it's that 08 might be blowed up here.
I'd hate that too, because he's us. I always enjoy Bob Fitzgerald. Well, actually, no, it looks like he's back in line here, so we'll see. But pace cars looks like about to tuck back out. It's gonna be Bud Steele, Jim Brooks leading the way, and again, leader has control of these restarts, so he can go anywhere as he chooses. And there he goes. If you would have thought maybe Jim could have timed it with him, but Jim's going to fall like a sitting duck here on this restart. Oh, actually, no, Kevin Freeze is going to cut some slack. Let him slide on in there. So we're going to have a top 4, top 5, looks like single file as they get through.
Oh, and Kevin with the push, got a push from Lima, looks like, and that definitely jacked that 25 up. You can tell the 25 not happy, trying to get right up there behind Lima to kind of give the push back. So definitely some big runs here going on, and look how squirrely these trucks are up front. The 78 all over the place. The 88 back to the 25. It's back to Dale Cup versus Team Bootnocker. And look at Kevin giving a huge push. He did not like what he had on that restart.
Yeah, it's just pretty much pushed him all the way through turn 3. Almost looked like it upset the 26, and yeah, it was allowed him to kind of cut right underneath there. So these guys, I said, they're going to race hard, but I mean, again, they know what they can handle, and there goes Lima. He's going to go kind of where the momentum is. And again, talk about drivers we haven't talked about. David Overstreet there in that red Kellogg's truck, I believe that is, or no, Fruit Loops, I believe. I don't know. It's some sort of breakfast on there. Oh, that's the Pop-Tarts on the hood there. Okay, he's got a little bit of everything, actually. But, yeah, David Overstreet in that red Toyota Tundra right now up front, plus 22 from where he started. So, yeah, these guys, again, kind of doesn't matter where you start. It's all about where you finish, and he's putting himself in a good spot here as we get, just clear. Look at that big move by those two.
Absolutely big moves going on in this race. And, that 46 saw that paint kind of advertised as a little preseason teaser just a couple days ago in the Discord, people getting ready for tonight's race. A lot of hype around this truck race here tonight, and let me tell you, it's not disappointed. We've had wrecks, we've had 3 wide, we've had pit strategy, we've had it all, and the race up front still just as good. You've got the 88 there of Gabe Butler, able to lead this line with Overstreet in second, Lima in third, Freeze in fourth. They're all single file, and now you see the racing going on in the back. Kind of some 3 wide swapping around here, but definitely some interesting moves starting to get made here with 18 to go, Gael.
Yeah, Dean there decided he wanted to jump up top there because he said he's got some nose damage, he was saying, so he didn't feel like he was going to be the right person to lead that pack. So he opted to go ahead and jump up top, let them on by, and drop to the bottom there. And saying that's you got to find where you're going to be in your best position. If you got damage, you probably want to be a pusher. You don't want to be the leader and then maybe make that move as late as you can. So right now, though, we got about a single file. Looks like about 6 trucks deep to about the 10 or the 78. But Seth Gruber even being involved in that incident, he's not done. He's going after it some more. So again, love the persistence. He was in pit road for 1:20 getting repairs done to that O2 truck, and it looks like it's still pretty sporty. So he's got a great pusher behind him with Steve Kurosek. So some pretty good options for them. And I said we also got a lot of those Team Extremes starting to get hooked up there. I see the 70, the 411s right there, the 61s right there. They've got all but James Mohan, so they've got some options. But Maxwell, if someone wants to try to go off strategy, maybe pit early to make it to the end, that window is open officially. So I'll be curious to see, does anybody blink saying we can't make it, let's jump in early, or are these guys maybe pedaling it a little bit here? But looking at lap times, only about a half second off their best laps of the race. I don't think there's too much pedaling going on yet.
Not yet, but those guys in the back, I really want to check in on them because they've got the most interesting strategy out of anybody here. And one of those drivers I know about for sure is that 83 of Jack Walls. I know for sure was down on pit road. And they're just kind of sitting here in their own pack. I think Vicente might have been with them. And, you know, they're kind of a little racy right now, but at the same time, I think they're just trying to maybe lay off that front pack and try to stay back just a little bit. I would have liked to have been hung on to the tail end of it there, but
here we go.
They've got a pack. Pit stops are happening.
Boot knockers are in, Jim Brooks in with them, Dean Wilkinson in with them. So that was the plan. They said, okay, we can make it from here. Let's hop on in. It'll be expect very, very quick pit stop. Let's say maybe 5 seconds at the longest. So now do we see the reaction, try to basically not go wait too long because they know what those guys can do. And yeah, sure enough, 5-6 seconds are the pit stops for all those guys up front.
Absolutely, some 6-second stops pretty much right there in between the 5 and 6 second range. Time to see how that strategy will work for them. Team Bootknocker has been good before, but up front, David Overstreet leading laps here and leading the field down into pit road here. Here comes a big gallop of them coming on in.
Yeah, but that was exactly the reaction. They said, nope, we don't want to give Bootknocker any advantage. We're going to jump in together. These guys are 3 wide, trying to find their pit stalls here, trying to get situated. And it looks like so far so good for the majority of them. Then they got to make sure they don't miss the pit stall. And great job by all these drivers. Looks like they've all hit their stalls clean. And that's now allowed, looks like Gary Winters to take the lead over Rudy Doden. Brandon Briggs now our top 3 drivers. And I love the strategies because right now, again, they're climbing where they started. 27 for Gary, 30 for Rudy, 34 for Brandon. You just never know.
No, sir, you don't. And sorry, kind of had like a mid-yawn there. Been working a lot of hours, folks. I'm sorry. But these guys are continuing to stay out. And I'll tell you, Gael, don't think this is going to be the race-winning strategy. I don't see in a pack of 4 cars, especially as dysfunctional as it looks, that they're going to make a whole lot of time here. Matter of fact, they might not even make it back to the lead pack by the time they decide to pit.
Yeah, that's gonna be the next step is watching lap times, and you're right. Last time by, they ran a 49.88. That's not going to cut it. Our best laps were in the 47, so right now that lap time is just not nearly quick enough. Right now we got a Bootknocker 1, 2, 3 for those that have pitted, and they are just trying to ditch the field right now. Gabe Butler, Kevin Freeze, Eric Laurie, they're just going to try to set sail here and leave the field because right now you've got the 2 Dale Cup behind them, Steve Korosek and Zachary Lima, about 1.3 seconds back. They don't have Seth Gruber yet. They're trying to pick up Timmy Reed as well. So yeah, so it looks like job done so far for the Bootknockers to try to break this gap. But that, as I say that, the gap's closing. Steve and Zachary, they've been able to tandem and they're catching back up. So looks like we're going to have a bit of a party at the lead after pit stop cycle, pending us getting through the green flag pit stop strategy, because we still have, I believe, at least 8 to 10 more trucks that need to make their final pit stop for tonight.
Absolutely. And Gaio, I'm really keeping my eye on this pack here. They're still losing a little bit of time to those leaders, and I know that pack of Gabe Butler is catching. But look at these guys. These are the guys that pitted there with the 1 to go and topped off those fuel tanks. And with 12 to go, I'm interested to see, did they save enough fuel while that pack was big, or did they get too far back and have to burn too much? These are the ones that are going to be on absolute fumes as they try to come across the start-finish line, and I honestly don't see any chance of them taking a risk to come down pit road, because even with a yellow, that'll put them right in their window.
Yeah, no, it'll be very curious, and unfortunately, looking at the pit stops, to say we were just talking about him again. Commentators curse strikes once more. David Overstreet unfortunately got caught speeding on pit road, had to get that 40-second hold on top of his pit stop. He's now trapped 1 lap down, unfortunately, in that 46. So right now is currently the first truck 1 down, so he needs to keep that position. I'm also watching to see if anybody's going to be able to catch that lead pack. I'm watching Seth Gruber and Timmy Reed. They're working hard to get there. And then Tom Dixon, Matt Wagner are working on it. So there's potential. We could still get a 10-plus truck pack here to catch those Bootknockers and the Dale Cup drivers, especially as they run side by side like they are right now. But up front, though, it's still these drivers here that are going long here. Again, lap times aren't doing what they need to. But again, you never know how the fuel mileage is looking for them. If any of them are going full save, maybe they can make some magic happen. We'll see.
And still trying to figure out the strategy of the 80, the 00, and the 66 here, and what they're kind of going after. I don't remember seeing these guys top off. And I don't think one's in the wall there in the 66. Just kind of getting real high. These guys are still pulling away from the pack, believe it or not, but definitely dysfunctional and disorganized up here as they're trying to do it, and kind of bobbing and weaving all over the place, Gael. It's kind of an interesting look out of our race leaders here.
Yeah, it seems like, they're trying to decide who they want to lead or what's going on, but yeah, definitely not organized, and yeah, just unfortunately costing them time. But yeah, what we have, I'm gonna be probably honestly focusing on that second pack with Gabe Butler and company, because it's now they've got Seth Gruber, Timmy Reed, they've joined the mix, and Tom Dixon and company, they're starting to close that gap as well. So we're gonna have over 10 trucks, I think, battling for this win. Again, pending us staying green, I think we're gonna have 10 trucks battling for this win here. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they have. And yeah, Tom's got the draft here. He's closing that gap very quickly in that 411 truck with Matt Wagner as his pusher. So yeah, it's about to get dicey up front here, and I'm loving every bit of it.
And this is a big pack getting ready to form here, Guile, but we have to remember too, we've seen more speed out of 3 trucks lined up than we have a pack of 14. So I don't know what this season's going to bring, but I know right now these guys, they're starting to make a little bit more time now that little bit of energy has come to them, but you would think these guys racing really hard here are going to start stalling each other out before too long. And, you know, honestly, my eyes are on this pack right here. Vicente Guerrero, Jack Walls, the 08 of Bob Fitzgerald, and that 90 truck. He currently not on the lead lap, I do not believe.
No, the 90, yeah. I actually just heard Bob Fitzgerald mention, so Bob pitted at lap 52. He says he's currently 2 laps short. The 83 of Jack Walls, he pitted 2 laps later than Bob Fitzgerald. So this is, they're debating on, like I said, I hear Vicente. It sounds like Vicente will have to pit. I don't know about Jack, what he wants to do. But the problem is if they pit, he's going to lose all his draft. But, caution's out.
And that's what saves these guys up front and why they stayed out. But caution is out. Don't know where it is on track, so don't know that we're going to be able to catch it. Turn 1. Trying to see if we can see what's happened there in turn 1. Oh, David Overstreet definitely looks like he's involved in that. Gael, I'm probably not even going to be able to pull that replay footage with that being so far in the back, knowing that my stuff probably was not loaded in there in time. But
yeah, well, it looks like it started between actually the second row, the 25 and the 26 through the trials, I think is actually where it officially occurs. Maybe a little bit of net code. It's hard to get a great angle
damage
at it.
to that 25, absolutely.
Yeah, no, those two trucks, and then they kind of just wind up ricocheting off each other, and then just eventually just kind of finishes, honestly, both of them off, and then at that point, everybody behind him just trying to find a way through. As I believe a couple do make it here.
Let's see if we can catch this here. Oh, the 26 of Lima just looks like he turns Kevin.
Yeah, no, if you go back a little before, they had a little bit of door-to-door contact, and it just unfortunately kind of turned a little ricochet. So it was tight race. Like I said, they were starting to squeeze. We're getting down single digits, and you'll see a little bit of contact. Yeah, if you watch right here, there's a little bit of contact initially right there. You see Kevin get his truck get upset. He catches it, but then you're gonna see the truck again kind of make that little cut to the left again. And then right there, and then this is what gets the 26's truck completely unsettled right back up into the door of the 25. So, just unfortunately, like I said, they were running tight, and I think just unfortunately, just that's what wound up kind of catching the two of them. And I believe, like I said, you see David Overstreet got a piece of that one. I'm not sure who else got all involved in this one.
Matt Wagner involved. Jim's luck runs out right there, Gael. Just
missed two of them. Third time's the charm, though.
Absolutely, and that's where it's going to cut these drivers out, is about right there. So, man, we saw the 26 and the 25 racing really hard all race long, and even getting a little bit feisty on track, right? I mean, Gael, you've seen me race in this series and know that I always got a little feistier than I should have at times, and so I know aggression when I see it, and man, that looked like just some really, really aggressive moves going on there. So, interesting bout there, but this works out fantastic for Jack Walls in the 83. Though he's got Gabe Butler with even more fuel right there behind him. But, man, these guys should be good on fuel.
Jack's going to have to – this has to finish under regulation for Jack. Otherwise, he's in trouble, I think, because he pitted at 54. We talked about that earlier. I think this caution makes him easily into the window, but I don't think it goes to green, white, checkered. So Jack's going to say, hey, you guys got to basically play nice. No green, white, checkers here. Otherwise, I'm going to have to pit early. So, yeah, this is going to be fun, though, because we've got the whole field back together. It looks like I think we still got, it looks like 20, I think at least 20 drivers on the lead lap here waiting for the timing and scoring to fully update. As I see, Jim Brooks got the EOL. I think he's hopefully got a fast repair left in that truck. I'm not sure, but we'll see here. As you see, Jack's just rolling the apron. So, and actually, I believe lights are off here. So maybe wrong there. Actually, well, no, here comes Jim now. He's hitting pit road. So we'll see if that truck gets nice and shiny again. But up front though, like I said, Jack's gonna need this thing to go green to the end. And then, but I'm looking at the outside line, though. You've got Gabe Butler and Eric Laurie lined up together, and that's great news for those two.
Absolutely, and it seems to not matter what happens throughout an entire race, who leads laps. That 88 of Gabe Butler is always going to be there at the end. But unfortunately, our defending series champion, Kevin Freeze, not going to be able to be there, and Gael, it looks like he's having to make a lengthy stay on pit road here. So maybe out of fast repairs.
I think that fast repair had to get used earlier, if I'm not mistaken. So, that's probably it for him. So last season, he would have the second one. He'd be all right. But, this season doesn't have it. So what we're going to have, though, Maxwell, is we're going to restart this thing with 3 to go. Look at Jack Walls again, riding the apron, just saving every drop of fuel he can out of that Pennzoil Chevrolet. He is trying to make sure he has everything he needs in the tank to make it to the end. And he's going to be the biggest fan right now, hopefully, of Steve Karosek behind him in that 27 truck. He's going to hope that he gets the push with the 27. But someone's going to make the third lane happen. We don't know who or where. I know that the 88 and the 71, they're going to stay committed to each other. So now it's going to be up to Jack here to see if he can find a way to hold these very, very tough drivers off here on this restart with 3 to go.
Absolutely, and for the end of the race with the camera issues we're happening, we're going to keep our eyes on the leaders throughout the rest of this event. That way, if anything happens at the end, we can see it. And 3 to go, green flag is out. Time to decide who is going to be your Race 1 winner of 2023 in the Super Speedway Truck Series. Jack Walls heading into turn 1. Big push by the 27 of Korzik. But you've got the 88 of Butler and Eric Lurie in the 071 on that outside with big pushes. But Seth Groover, after all the incidents he's had, he's in it to win it. Look here, 5th position, pushing that bottom lane.
Yeah, very well organized. They got to be careful. Don't push too hard, too early. Track temp has definitely jumped a ton here, 93 degrees. So these trucks aren't going to be driving at their best. We talked about that earlier. But again, they still got to go one more lap after this to get the white. At that point, it will be an official race. But at this point, they still got to go one more clean lap. That's what Jack's saying. Like, just come on, guys. One more time around. Keep it clean. I want to make this finish under regulation. But wait for that third lane. The third lane's going to happen. We just don't know where. Bud Steele's trying, but has no help as of yet. Oh, but look at this, though. Everybody's leaving the bottom lane. They want to get to the top here. That's going to kill Jack and Steve for the moment. But it's going to open the door there for the 28 of Carl Henderson. He's going to gain some spots. He's got Josh Laston behind him. Keep an eye on those two. Those are teammates. They might try to make something happen here as we go down the back.
Absolutely. That bottom line keeping plenty of momentum, though. Some of those guys on that outside, they're going to want to go 3 wide. I think that middle groove's probably going to be enjoying or losing their drafting help as they'll get took 3 wide here on the 1 to go. And, oh, before we get it, there's going to be another yellow. Oh, huge hit for the 70. Wow.
Oh, still trucks going up and over in the air there. That was exactly the last thing Jack Walls wanted because it came out so late. He's not going to have the fuel mileage. Jack's going to have to hit pit road. I don't see any way around it. And yeah, big hits for a few trucks. Richard Sanchez, especially that yellow Jasper truck. I saw him go for a ride. Landed on his wheels, but unfortunately they weren't quite at the start-finish line. So first race of the season, there's a reason we named this channel the What We Did, and we're going to have our first green-white checkered attempt here.
See what we can see. It starts with Vicente just get hooked. And Vicente not having the night he wants, but riding on the camera view of Charles Johnson. Look at the 70 just go for a big hit. And then the 08, Bob Fitzgerald going to get hooked into the wall by Charles Johnson. And then the Jasper truck hit with the back end. Charles goes for a big ride up in the air. And look at the 510 getting some big hang time too. Lot of big wrecks here. And trying to see if I can circle here to some of these others. Man, big hits for some of these drivers and just a major accident there. So, luckily the camera view is kind of working in our favor here toward the end of this race. But now, as we see, Jack Walls has indeed come down the pit lane. Has no choice but to top off with fuel. And I was really pulling for Jack coming back into this race and into this series for a couple seasons being off, and man, he was right there in position, just needed to get that white flag, didn't he?
Yeah, no, that's what he was looking for. He wanted to get the white because that would have been, at that point, it's an official race. They raced to the checkered from there. Unfortunately, that isn't the case, but this is a huge break for a lot of drivers once again. I say, obviously, it's great for Gabe Butler. He and Eric Lurie, they're going to have to kind of get a game plan for this restart. As you see the 90 there. Great for Gary Jenkins, too. He's going to get one of his laps back, and I believe getting back on the lead lap, if I'm not mistaken. But again, I mean, you're going to have a split group of trucks here. You do have some boot knockers, but you've got some other guys right there. Like I said, Carl Henderson now, he's up into 4th. His teammate's going to restart 7th with Josh Laston. But now it's just going to be, I think, you're going to have to line up with whoever you can find as quick as you can. So yeah, this is going to be really fun to see. And some other drivers that took advantage of that wreck. Jim Brooks had to take he did have a fast repair left Maxwell, and he was able to get to the back, and he was in the back, I should say, avoided the wreck, and now going to restart right near the top 10. And also Robert Rock, he was one of those trucks that just got through that wreck. I think one of the trucks actually ramped off his nose. But he's still in this one as well here in that 171. He's going to try to see if he can get something happening. So, yeah, it's all to play for here.
Absolutely. What a topsy-turvy race, Guile. 8th caution of this event for just a 75-lap event. Quite a few yellows here, but what are you thinking? Are we done with the yellow flags, or do we see another here? I mean, the way this race has went, every time you think it's going to go green, we have some big contact, and we were so close to taking the white flag there before that big incident had come out.
Yeah, they got to go. Basically, they need to run one clean restart lap is basically where we're at right now. So that's going to be the goal for these drivers, is to be able to do that. And like I said, if they can get the white, at that point, all bets are off. However, if you like strategy, if you like chaos, then that opens up some options, because there are 3 attempts here, Maxwell, on green, white, checkered TV. So this is attempt number 1, but there's a potential for 2 more. However, on the 3rd attempt, if a yellow comes out before the white flag flies, at that point you will wind up just having to finish where the caution flies, and that's where your finishing position will be. So it's going to be fun to see what's going to happen, but yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun here. I think the question is going to be, how do the 88 and the 71 here, how do they make this restart happen? Does Gabe go up top to pick up Eric? Do they try to jump a little early for Eric to drop to the inside? They got to choose what line they want to be here on this restart.
Absolutely. Big moves are going to be crucial here tonight. And since all the surprises are gone, it looks like we get to reset this race with 2 laps to go. And after all is said and done, are we shocked at all to see the 88 of Gabe Butler in first, Eric Laurie there in second? Steve Korzik, still could see a big move from him in third. Carl Henderson been a nice surprise all night long in fourth. And we talked about Team Extreme. Tom Dixon there in top 5. And Seth Groover, driver of the race in my opinion, still in this. Still able to run here in 6th. Has a chance to win. And the pace car is in. And folks, on Green White Checkered TV, we present the first Green White Checkered here for you on Thursday nights, as Gabe Butler brings the field to the green at 2 to go. Moving straight up the track for Eric Laurie. Does that open the door for Steve Korzik? We're going to find out here as these drivers head into turn 1 and get big runs heading down the backstretch.
Yeah, Gabe couldn't get, Eric couldn't get clear of Steve, so Gabe had to go up to pick up his teammate. And surprisingly, Carl Henderson, he said, you know what, I'm going to go up top 2 there. And now he's going to try to work the 3rd lane, see if maybe he can pick up Seth Gruber, see if they can become just kind of friends by default here, working that 3rd lane. And right now he's going to have to be careful. Yep, they get to the inside. Carl gets down to the middle. It's a good move there. There's Josh Lassen. He's going to pick up the back of the O2 truck. And right now they just want to get through 3 and 4 here, make it clean to the end. But there is a lot of movement going on here. It's going to be up in the air here. We do get the white flag here, Maxwell. 1 to go.
White flag is out. Gabe Butler is the leader, but they're getting swallowed up here. Going to make a big block, Gabe is on Korzik. Korzik not going to have much of it. Probably going to try to push clear and see if he can get in between Eric Laurie and Gabe Butler, as they're 3 wide for 3rd. Big run on the outside lane, but Korzik looking to ride here for now, but watching to see if he makes that big move going into turn 3.
Yeah, right now Gabe's got what he needs here, but wait for Steve. You know he's going to make a move out of 4, I think. But look at Tom Dixon out of nowhere. He's jumped up into this 3rd spot. But here comes Eric Laurie, a big head of steam out of 4, getting a big push. There goes the...
Oh, there's a big wreck right there. It's going to be between these 2. Who's going to get it? It's going to be Gabe Butler with the win. Korzik in 2nd, and Todd Siebels out of nowhere with 3rd place. Winters in 4th. Robert Rock rounding out your top 5. Wagner 6th. Dixon in 7th. Briggs 8th. Henderson in 9th. And the 10th place going to Michael there in the 70. Wow, Gael, what a finish, and sorry to interrupt you there, but man, what a race.
Yeah, wild finish there at the end. I'm trying to see what exactly happened. I think maybe a little bit of net code, everybody jumping around, and I think, yeah, the initial contact occurred between Tom Dixon, I believe it was, and Eric Laurie, and then, yeah, at that point, it was just everybody's trying to react and find a way through. And yeah, a lot of trucks going up and over, and some making to the finish line, some not. But you're right, though. I mean, Todd Siebels, like I said, feels like almost out of nowhere making it to get into that 3rd position there. Some heartbreaks for a number of drivers for sure. They're right there having a chance at the end, and then just not getting what they need. But like you said, Area 51, Gabe Butler, Gabe once again getting the win here at Daytona to kick off the season. That's a big shocker there for the regulars for the league. But yeah, great run though, but some wild finish there at the end. Everybody got maybe a little too overzealous there, possibly trying to get the best positions they could.
Absolutely, going back and seeing if we can catch some of this wreck here, trying to see if we can catch certain drivers, trying to find them here. Big hits for some of them. Look at the big crash. Seth Groover's truck, the fact that it made it. Oh, and Dean just destroying the 28. I hate to laugh, but man, lifted that truck way up in the air. 411 crossing over. Are you surprised that this 411 finished 7th with that kind of truck? I mean, just to rewind this, just right here, just got to see this one more time from some different perspectives. See if we can get maybe a different camera view to try to catch more of this incident. Right here, let's watch it one more time. We see the big moves getting made in the 411. Right there in third, just wasn't clear. Oh, and Seth Groover pile drove into the back of Eric Laurie, and just look at him. No one's lifting at this point, are they, Guile?
No, at this point, you're just trying to find kind of daylight and try to squeeze your way through there. And that's why we saw some drivers, like you said, just kind of take their way down to the grass even. And while I'm sure Carl didn't enjoy the extra hit, honestly, it probably helped propel his truck across the line. So it may have not been for the worst there for Carl. But like I said, I mean, he was going for the win. He had the right place, the right move there. He got to the top side, just couldn't quite get there. And then unfortunately just got caught up in that incident at the end. But like I said, Gabe Butler, though, going to get the win. And before we get to Gabe, though, we got to chat with our podium drivers, and that's going to kick off with, like you said, Todd Siebel's in that 45. Again, just like you said, kind of felt like came out of nowhere here in that 45 machine. So I say that, I don't know. It's just, I think just what Todd Siebel seems to do in these races. So I'm going to drag him on over here. Our third place finisher there, Todd. And man, you got hooked up there at the end with some of those guys, and you weren't really in the top 3 in that final restart, and then you just made the right moves, it looked like, at the end.
Yeah, I noticed that the bottom line was taken. I was running in 4th position. The high line formed, and Eric was kind of all by himself. And I thought, well, I like Eric. Let me get behind him, see if we can do something. And we had a heck of a run. And but then I guess somebody got pushed into him and created a little bit of trouble, and I ricocheted and kept it straight and managed to pull out a podium finish. I couldn't be happier.
Absolutely. And, you know, most of the race, Todd, back there running in the back, just trying to bide your time, and plenty of yellows here tonight. What were you thinking on this last green-white checkered as you were setting up? Did you think you were going to make it to the checkers clean, or were you just hoping to dodge yet another wreck to try to get into the position you finished here tonight?
Yeah, I don't know. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of damage that I repaired my truck early on, and I forgot to uncheck my fast repair. So I lost my fast repair. And so I never really got to use it so I just had to keep it clean. I don't know. It's just a lot of fun, and just things worked out the way they did. I just feel it just kind of a lottery pick there.
I think a lottery is a good way to describe it there, because I mean, those last laps, they always get crazy. But yeah, I mean, it was wild there at the end. But I mean, you kind of did your initial start there. You kind of just cruise in the back, bide your time, and then wait to make their moves later. And like I said, unfortunately got caught up in an incident earlier, but able to recover even with the kind of lingering damage. And yeah, able to do what you normally do, is say plus 30 from your starting spot. You will grab the highest climber by 1 spot, it looks like.
All right, I like it.
So well done there, an extra bonus point in your pocket. And then so we talked to some of the other drivers about it pre-race. The big change this season, we're bringing back some tracks and adding some tracks. So not just Daytona, Talladega anymore, adding Atlanta, adding iRacing. I mean, do those tracks concern you at all? Are you excited for them? I mean, what's the thought process going into the rest of the season?
In the past, I wouldn't have liked it, but I think I've just kind of learned to adjust and accept changes and just get acclimated to those new tracks. Is iRacing Super Speedway one of them?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and that was my least. Well, I just didn't really like it at all. It's just so hard to get in and out of the pits, but especially in the pits. But and Atlanta, no, that's. I think I've learned to like them. I like the competition around me, and I learn, and I don't know. I just it's doesn't matter where we are with this group of guys. You're just going to have a good time.
All
No,
right.
it's great to have you back. Sorry to step on you there, Maxwell. No, it's really good to have you back in the track there, Todd. It's always fun watching you. And like I said, you hung on to that thing. You're able to kind of bounce it through and find your way to get into that top three. So definitely a hard fought and well earned podium tonight. So definitely want to give you the floor here for any thanks and shout outs you'd like to give for that third place tonight.
Well, I want to thank my teammates, TW Motorsports. Some of the guys had some tough luck tonight. Unfortunately, it got banged up a little too soon, and then trucks didn't make it in the end. But anyway, and the whole group here, Area 51, but especially, it's just such a pleasure to see Jim Brooks out on the track. I love it. I'm just so happy. Thank God he's back, and welcome back, Jim.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun definitely racing with him and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, Maxwell, I'll take it back over to you here before we pull in our runner up tonight.
Absolutely. Well, good run, Todd. Glad to see you up front. And hey, heck of a start to that championship for you this season, isn't it?
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you very much. I'm very happy about it.
All right. We'll talk to you next week when we head to Atlanta. So thank you, Todd. Appreciate that. That was your third place finisher. Now it's time to talk to your second place finisher, and that's going to be Steve Korzik there. So, Steve, you were kind of up front most of the night, being able to run with these guys and keeping your nose clean, and then right here at the end, you had a chance to go for the win. Tell us about it. What were your thoughts there on that green, white, checkered?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't have any teammates around me, and I knew that the boot knocker guys were going to work together. So I was just trying to hang on. I was actually riding around with a minute of optional. I didn't expect the truck to even be able to keep up. So I'll take the second. But coming off of four, when Gabe went up high, I thought about crossing him inside, but I think my truck's just too slow to even attempt it. So I just tucked in line. But congrats to him. It was a really good win. It was fun racing with everybody.
And I say, I mean, it seemed like that was the storyline. I feel like tonight it was your group with Dale Cup and Boot Knocker. That you guys were pretty much the ones fighting for the front most of the way. Obviously, you guys were, I'd say, maybe a little bit on the short-handed side compared to on the driver number side of things. Although it looked like you maybe partnered up with some drivers over with Limitless to maybe help kind of beef up your organization a little bit for tonight's race. I mean, how hard were you guys racing there throughout the race? Because I mean, it didn't look like it was a Sunday afternoon drive for you all. It looked like there was some pretty tough and aggressive racing to kind of try to keep control at a race. And is that just because it's Daytona a little bit narrower, or is it just you felt like the front was where you needed to be all race long if you could have that happen?
Yeah, I think the front's the place to be. At the start, I thought that everyone was just going to take it easy, but then it got intense. But I'm fine with that. But I'm here to race, and I think it's really fun. I enjoy racing with everybody. I wish it'd be like that every lap all the time.
So, Steve, during this race tonight, had one of our bigger fields that we've had, especially for a season kickoff. 36 total drivers took the green flag here tonight. And, typically we can run almost flag to flag without maybe just one, maybe two yellows, but tonight seemed to be quite a few. Do you think that may be just first race jitters, or do you think this is how the aggression level is going to be in this truck series throughout the season?
Yeah, I think it's everybody's first time really running together for the league race. Obviously there are practice races, but it's the first one, and just like you're saying, there's nerves going into it. And we're all trying to get used to running around one another. So I don't think that we'll have as many cautions for the rest of the season, honestly.
Absolutely. Well, hey, great start to your season. Great job representing your team Dale Cup here in Area 51. And now it's time to give you the floor for any thanks and shout outs that you got for this second place finish here tonight at Daytona.
Yeah, I just gotta thank Area 51 for putting it on. It's really fun. I enjoy it. Um, Thank you guys for doing the broadcast. I love watching it after the race. And I gotta thank the Dale Cup boys. And I gotta give a shout out to Dean Wilkinson. I've spun you for the past 2 races in a row trying to push you. And I'm really sorry. I'll make it up to you. I got you.
All right. Well,
that's what's fun about these, Maxwell, is to say it's a good little it's a great little dysfunctional family we have with Area 51. But like I said, they all try to work with each other, and like I said, didn't go the way you wanted to with Dean there, but like I said, you're gonna try to make it up to him. That's what's cool about you guys and the way everybody races over here. But yeah, it's also great to have you back, Steve. Glad to get you back behind the wheel, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you the rest of the way.
Yeah, it's great to be back. Thank you guys.
all right, that was your second place finisher, Steve Korzik. But now it's time to talk to a new race winner here for 2023. Gabe Butler there in the 88. Gabe, how's it feel to get your first ever win in the Area 51 Super Speedway Truck Series in 2023?
Well, after being just on for over a week, it feels pretty good.
Yeah, I'm watching the YouTube chat. So I had to make a little joke there. So basically, Maxwell, you got Death, Texas, and Gabe Butler winning Area 51 races. Like those are just basically requirements that are going to be in your life one way or the other. But Gabe, this was a busy one tonight. I mean, you guys, it wasn't just you didn't sit around and ride. I mean, you guys had to work hard for it. You had the Dale Cup guys, you had the Limitless guys, you had some of the new names and new faces as well, kind of joining the mix and kind of spicing it up. And then also a lot of strategies with the cautions kind of unfolded at some points, kind of put you guys mid pack there. I mean, how on your toes did you have to be here tonight to be able to try to put yourself in position to win this race tonight?
Well, yeah, the cautions kind of kept messing up the strategy, so we were constantly, recalculating what kind of fuel and what we were going to do. And our goal tonight was to just try and undercut the field as best we could, and it worked out there near the end. Unfortunately, Kevin got caught up in one. We had a good control of that middle line there, and he got taken out, unfortunately. And so then it was, and Gary had some bad luck also, as did Richard. But it was me and Eric were together, and that last run there, I kind of had to leave him in the middle lane. We were going to try and control that too, and unfortunately didn't have anybody behind him, and that bottom lane was coming like a train, so I had to go down and block it, and were able to bring it home from there.
And Gabe, as a veteran of the sport and a veteran of Area 51 here and just a master of super speedway racing, I've kind of got 2 questions here to ask. And first one is, did you notice any handling issues maybe that were unexpected here tonight? We noticed through the broadcast there was a lot of trucks that the back ends looked like they were not really in the track. A lot of movement, especially in the front of the field when guys were trying to push and push hard. And I feel like the last few races we did, they were planted, but maybe these things are stepping out just a little bit. And 2, with the amount of cautions and yellows we had here tonight, I know it's a first race back, but do you think this is the new aggression level we're going to see? We kind of went from everybody playing single file and being nice toward the end of last season to, lots of 3 wide, lots of big moves, and lots of big pushes. Saw Kevin Freeze almost go around off the bumper of the 26. So definitely a lot of things going on. Do you think maybe that's the new norm for Area 51 Truck Series racing here? So kind of 2-parter here for you.
Yeah, well, I think there's more competition in here. There was a great turnout tonight, and aggression is one thing, smart aggression is another thing. And I just it's going to be tougher, so you're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive. So yes, I think it's going to be a bit more of an aggressive season, which should make for some exciting racing. Hopefully, it doesn't bring out a bunch of cautions. But to get back to your first point, I think a lot of those trucks that were getting turned on, I could be wrong, and you guys can correct me, but it seemed to be happening on the bottom, and I think the truck that was getting turned in some cases was catching that apron, and there's not a lot the pusher can do in that case. Now, I didn't see anything happening from the outside, but you guys saw a lot more than I did, so I don't know. I did see a number of trucks catching the apron and getting turned.
Yeah, so it was definitely, there was a few situations. There's a couple also just incidents where there were one of those ones where it was like, I mean, obviously you were part of the chat and everything like that, so you heard at some points like Charles Johnson VR failure at one point for him. So it's like there were some odds and ends as well, but yeah, I just, and of course we mentioned too with the way the track was tight, it definitely got a little warmer over the course of the run too. So I'm thinking that probably played a role in it, as well as the day kind of continued to go. The ambient gets hotter, the track gets hotter. I think it was up to mid 90s by towards the end of the race there. So I mean, I'm sure that played a bit of a role as well. But and then again, like you said, a lot of new names, new faces. So I'm sure some learning curves for just kind of who you can push what ways and who's comfortable being pushed in ways and so on and so forth. It seemed.
Yeah, and for the most part, I think the new drivers, did a really good job, and they just got to get used to the veterans here, and we got to get used to them. So it'll be back and forth, and I'm sure as the season goes on, it'll improve. But yeah, to your point, I think the increasing track temps, it don't play well with the back end of this setup. It's really built for 75% and less. So maybe next week we can do something about the dynamic sky, but I won't say who forgot that.
Yeah, no, I'll say it was probably just some guy who doesn't get paid enough to do it, but
Yeah, exactly.
wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But no, I mean, it was, like I said, you guys put on a really, really good show. It was a lot of fun. Like I said, it was great to see like I said, like Max mentioned, 37 trucks tonight. And honestly, I mean, that first stage of the race, it was really good racing. You guys got most of a green flag stop and just a little hiccup on a pit exit for a driver to bring out the yellow, which honestly was surprised that it brought that yellow out. But yeah, I mean, it was a great race. Like I said, a few yellows that maybe you would hope to have a little less that we're used to, of course, the Area 51. But overall, I mean, you guys put on a show as always. And next week, man, it's gonna be a whole new animal, mile and a half, basically super speedway at Atlanta. These drivers are going to be ready to kind of adjust their racing style, I think, compared to here.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely a different animal. It's you're going to have to manage your tires for sure at Atlanta, and you definitely got to hold your line there better than you do at the super speedways, the true super speedways. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it goes well. Looking forward to it, actually.
Well, Gabe, I'm sad I won't be out there to try to dethrone you, but I'll be up here in the booth getting to see all this action from a different track other than Daytona and Talladega. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't super excited to see what you truckers could do at other venues. But before we let you go and do that next week, we've got to give you the floor for any thanks and shout-outs that you might have for this first Truck Series win of 2023.
I'd just like to thank all the drivers that came out tonight. It was a great turnout. And, of course, thanks to you guys for doing a fantastic broadcast. And, of course, Area 51 and all the admins. It's a lot of work putting this together, but it's enjoyable. And, of course, my team boot knocker drivers there, they're just, again, awesome bunch. Absolutely nothing about your teammates. And just one more thing. I'm glad you're not racing, Mac, because I just can't seem to beat you anymore.
I love the banter back and forth, Gabe. Man, great job on the win here tonight. And go back there with them Team Boot Knocker boys and go celebrate that W here tonight. And we'll see you next week at Atlanta.
All right, gentlemen. Looking forward to it.
All right, folks. That is your race winner. And Gael Brooks, I think I've broken the screen. Look at this. Oh, there it goes. So, let's see here if I can get back to live here. Will it let me? Will it? I don't think it's going to. It's being a little glitchy here tonight. Going to keep me on replay. But for now, we're just going to see what we can do here. We're going to try to bring up your finishing results. And I say try because I know it's going to come up here. But Gael, you might have to correct me on some of those back marker finishers if my timing and scoring got messed up here a little bit. But we can at least give you your top few runners for sure, guaranteed. Gabe Butler with the win here tonight. Todd Siebels in second. Gary Winters, a new name in the field, rounding out. That is not right. He was not your third place finisher.
There's a bit of timing and scoring error. It happened to everybody, unfortunately. Yeah. So it's Steve Kursick, Todd Siebels, top three, Gary Winters, fourth, Robert Rock in the top five. So basically everybody's going to be off about a number until you get to about that 17th-ish position. At some point you'll see Steve Kursick's name pop up. Yeah, for whatever reason it bumped him to the end of the lead lap. I think maybe something happened, like went through the pit lane or something, and it got a little goofy. But yeah, so got some admin work to do in the back end. But yeah, like I said, though, the top five, though, Gabe, Steve, Todd, Gary Winters, though, a great finish for him with the top four. Robert Rock, top five. Matt Wagner brings home a sixth position. I'm sure he's going to be pretty pleased about that because it was a tough race early on. Then he got Tom Dixon, we mentioned as well, was right there in the mix until that last late incident. Brandon Briggs plus 29 spots, finished eighth. Carl Henderson, Michael Mayu rounding out our top 10. Then we drop over to 11-12, Jack Wall, Seth Groover, Bud Steele, Gary Jenkins, Eric Laurie, our top 15. And then you got Josh Laston, Jim Brooks, Rudy Doden, Bob Fitzgerald, and Vicente Guerrero, our top 20. Continuing on from there, you got David Overstreet, Dean Wilkinson, Randy Schweitzer, Ryan Decker, and Timmy Reed, our top 25. Continuing 26 on back there, Jessica Childs, Brad Slagle, Richard Sanchez. And you can see a lot of these unfortunate early exits for these guys. Zachary Lima, Adam Kilday, Charles Johnson, Kevin Fries, Randy Miner, James Mohan, Andy Brigante, Joshua Hanner, and Mike Iao Jr. will be our final finisher tonight. Mike did get on track for a little bit, but missed the initial grid. So I think just probably needing to sort a few little hiccups out for Mike there. But again, 37 trucks did take part in tonight's race, and it was a wild one tonight, Maxwell. It was a lot of fun.
It was indeed a lot of action going on there, and just so many things going on in this race. This race had it all. It had great green drop of the green flag, nice 3x3 racing, quite a few yellows, and a bunch of hiccups on my end for cameras and stuff. Just, Gaio, in broadcasting, you can have some great ones and you can have some not so good ones, and had a few hiccups here tonight. But we'll go to the drawing board, folks, and we'll try to get a lot of these hiccups resolved for next week. I think it was just such an action-packed field of 37 cars that maybe iRacing on my end just could not handle all the awesomeness that we saw tonight, right? So, Gaio, real quick before we go, want to ask you one question, and I think this way, and nobody else seems to, but I love the storyline behind it. We're just one race in, but I'm already talking championship. Gabe Butler already getting a win and getting atop the point standings earlier, but let's look at the other spectrum. Kevin Fries there in 32nd. I mean, not the finish he was looking for tonight as our defending series champion. So as we go to Atlanta, do you think Atlanta's really going to shake up the way our championship players look?
I think Atlanta's going to be very interesting because I think, like they said, this is a track it's going to race very differently to Daytona, Talladega, and even to iRacing Super Speedway. Like they mentioned, handling's going to come into this one. You're not going to be able to just lock bumpers and go. It's going to spread out a little bit over time. Strategy is going to be, I think, extremely important. So yeah, I think there's a lot to play in this one. So I'm very intrigued to see how Atlanta's going to go, because it's going to be its own little animal, and it could be great. It could be a little rough to start off with, but the only way we can find out is to get on track and make it happen. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes.
Absolutely. Well, since everything else seems to be glitching here, trying my best, we're going to go ahead and call it a night here from the Daytona International Speedway. Make sure you catch Sunday night as they now run the next-gen cars at the Super Speedways. Looking forward to seeing race 2 there, and we'll see you back here Thursday night for your best midweek race of the week. I'm going to be biased here, Gael. The Super Speedway Truck Series. These truckers always put on a fantastic show. Will Team Bootknocker continue their dominance, or will a team like TW Motorsports or Dale Cup come up there to steal the win? Or will we see a surprise winner, maybe from Team Extreme or any of the other new drivers in the field? We'll find out as we go to a new venue next week at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. So for Gael, Brooks, and myself, we are signing off here tonight. We thank you for tuning in, and we can't wait to see you next week for more Super Speedway Truck Series action. Take care, and good night.